Searching podcasts for Dave, and one more time.
So you better comply, because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding. Every state, good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor, because I don't think you'll be in elected politics.
And 3.
Number 2.
Gonna follow that up with a 1.
Woohoo!
Again, insert your own noises here, America. But while you're inserting your noises, know that you are.
You're welcome.
Absolutely welcome. Hi, everybody. How are you? I'm Dave.
I'm Juan.
And this is Dave and Juan.
More time.
That's right. Don't adjust your screens. Those of you that are watching us on the YouTubes or whatever it is, or at the pump number 5 at the Circle K in Thibodeau, whatever gas screens we may be on. Juan and I look like we are heading to the Great White North.
That's right. It's kind of, it's like intentionally matching, but not intentionally matching.
That's right. Complimenting, Juan.
That's the word, man.
We're complimenting. We even said that before we came on, that this is the 199th episode of this thing, and we've never dressed alike.
Yeah.
So maybe for number 200, we'll have to figure it out.
We'll see.
How that goes. And sadly, we start off on a it is a sad note, but also sort of a tribute note. We are down at least one listener. This time around, because there was a passing in the service.
My mother-in-law, who I often talked about it and made light of, she sadly and suddenly passed away this week. So I think her goal in life was to make it to episode 200. She was close.
Well, you know what? We can. We'll figure out a way. We'll figure out a.
Yeah. We'll pipe it in.
If I had not been taking the weeks off that I've been,
that's
taking
right.
off,
That's right.
That's not on her. So let's say that for the record, she would have well been around for the 200th episode if I would have got my act together and not had to travel a few times this year. But and
it's it's sad, but it's as at this age, as often happens, I think you always in the process find things to laugh about.
Sure.
And we've laughed a lot this week because we've been my wife's brother lives in Mobile, Alabama, so he's come in this week. We've kind of just been going through things at her house and everything. The woman her house is impeccably clean, but she was a pack rat. And when I say the most organized pack rat you have ever seen, I think she kept receipts or notes from every dime she ever spent.
A very organized hoarder.
Yeah, pretty much.
Not keeping trash, but hey, listen, I can relate a little bit to that. I can relate. My wife is screaming at the speaker right now saying, "Oh, that is," but I'm not real neat with it. But I form sentimental,
right, like a good piece of wood we've talked about before.
My ink pen, the ink pen that I took all my college tests on 30 years ago that I still have. But your mother-in-law was 82, right?
82. But it's just the useless notes, I guess, are useless to me. So we found a notepad, that we would joke, and you'd say, "Hey, you want to do something today or whatever?" She'd say, "No, I have to pay bills." And it's like, well, how many bills do you have? Why is it going to take you all day? Well, we discovered. So she had a notebook, several notebooks. This one, her home records for things like the electric bill, your cable bill, your water bill, any bills associated with, your garbage bill. Mm-hmm. And each bill was listed, and then the numbers 1 through 12. So again, for the month. So each month, this was like pre-prepared. So then when it came to, February of 2025, she'd write what she paid for each of those bills.
Wow.
The notebook goes back to 1992.
1992.
Yeah.
Put that in perspective. I've been married 31 years, no,
Yeah.
working on 32, and that was before I got married.
Yeah. So every bill that she's ever paid with that, in her car, another notebook that every time she added gas to her car, which she never let her car go below a half a tank because she had some thought that that would be bad for the car.
Much
Um,
like you, right, Juan?
yeah, just like me. uh, but she'd write down the date she got gas, the price per gallon, the mileage on her car, the total she paid, and how she'd calculate the miles per gallon that she'd gotten on that tank of gas. So,
You know, it is so it's two different things. So that's obviously, I mean, that's some OCD. Okay, that's. But at some point, if you can function, you know what?
yeah, so what?
That's like a hobby. Like
Yeah.
it may be weird to you, but you know what? If you told me that I could have a log of that kind of log, if you like, if you just magically said, "Here you go, Dave. Here's a record of all the times you tanked up your car," and you know what? I'd say like, "Oh, this is interest. This is interesting to have." Now, would I go through the effort to do that? No. I would also ask as she's filling up the car, where is she? Like they tell you, especially women, by yourself, and I'm guessing older women even more. You don't want to be hanging around
Right.
a gas station. That's actually the I think the most common place for abductions and whatever. So, you know, well, she made it. She was able to do it for 30 something years or
Yeah. See it's like I said, her deal. She also the last notebook I talk about. My wife called me a little while ago because they're over there now. They found something else. So she has gone to this place in Baton Rouge with some friend of hers, Superior Grill. It's a restaurant and bar and patio. We're actually going to go there this afternoon in her honor. But so she went every Sunday afternoon for forever.
wow.
Uh, she also have a notebook of what everything she wore each day. So we're gonna ask her friends if they ever noticed that she wore the same thing twice.
Oh, but you know what? That's
Hey man,
that like I said, is
whatever keeps you fulfilled.
it gives you something to do, something to keep your mind engaged. Um, yeah, I totally get that. But
Yeah.
rest in peace, Godspeed, Mrs. What was her name again?
Cathy Feig.
Feig.
Yeah. And
Godspeed, Kathy. And went out like you said. We've had that conversation before. Would you would you would you want to know a long time in advance, like when your last day was?
yeah, well, if you're ill and the time was numbered or your
You
days
know,
were numbered. She chose not to, and you know,
right? And went
um,
quickly, right? Just
yeah.
from within a matter of a day or two. Didn't really know you were
No, yeah,
sick.
within a matter of minutes, basically.
Okay.
And we
Honestly,
knew she
dude,
was ill, but then no.
yeah, I kind of gotta think if you got things in line, there's never a good time. I'm guessing to go, but part of me thinks that might be the way to, you know,
Yeah.
you're gonna go like you go. God's gonna decide how you go. Okay,
Right.
or it's
And like I
already.
told you, a friend of mine today told me that, he was talking about his grandmother. Said, she was in her 90s and she was living life fully. And then she found out she had breast cancer. And he said that was the first day she started to die.
Yeah, I could see, especially years ago. That was the old mindset thing. Like, man, when you got cancer, that was it. And then along the line, it was like, well, cancer might be something you can live with, not necessarily die of,
Yeah.
depending
Right.
on,
It is a mindset. Yeah.
right.
So,
But of course, look, like I said, none of us go out healthy, y'all. None of us, right? Or if you do go out healthy, then you had other problems.
right.
It's,
It's
it's
been, yeah.
so
This,
there you go. But it's interesting. I don't even know what the age is now, but I was thinking about this a while ago. And because I'm putting presentations together and I got to give one. I got a bunch coming up, but one of them that's coming up in Orlando, and they want me to talk about retention employee retention, things about,
Mm-hmm.
and along with that, the impact of mentoring, right? Which almost nobody does, right? Nobody,
Yeah.
very few organizations have official mentoring programs. So I don't really know, but if we're lucky enough, we've all had mentors, right? Whether it was an official mentor or
Right.
not, somebody, if you were lucky enough to have a boss that wasn't a total chew, or just saw something in you, or just, so I was looking through some stuff, and one of them was got Don Broussard. I'll give him a shout out. I got Don Broussard. He was my boss at LumCon. And I was only at LumCon for a little over 3 years, but he was the best. He was a good dude. And I can remember, this is talking about age. I can remember at one point when he told me, my degree was in accounting. Believe it or not, folks. That's right. You are listening to the podcast. Do I sound like an accountant? I got accountant.
Yeah, but you also have, don't slight yourself. That's your undergraduate degree.
Well, that's my undergraduate. But the reason I got a graduate degree, the reason I have an MBA, was mostly because of Don Broussard. Because when I went to work at the place, and again, this is when you're lucky enough to have a mentor. He looked at me and said, "Hey, I want you to come on the job, and I want you to eventually be able to take my job. So I
Mm-hmm.
want to, however long he was going to be around, but I'm going to have you positioned for if something happens to me or I leave, you're the obvious person. So basically, I want you to be able to do my job while I'm still here."
Right.
Which is, hey, look, man, that's the best deal you're going to get from anybody who's your boss, right? But then he realized, because we worked with some PhDs, some researchers. I'm going to use the in quotes researchers. That's a side subject. The next time I do a podcast, drinking a couple beers, I realize I haven't had a few beers or been sipping on a wine in a podcast in a while, which is why I think I'm talking faster than usual. I listened last
Well, I'm
podcast.
assuming, does that mean you've been sipping on a few beers or glasses of wine, or that you haven't been?
I haven't been the last couple three because I notice how
Uh,
fast I'm talking all the time. The sipping on a wine while we do this is sort of like a speed bump. It keeps me slowing down. But what DB, we called him, figured out was, he told me, he says, "Listen, man, these people are snakes, and what's going to happen is, even though this job doesn't require it right now, and I don't have it because DB wasn't, I don't think he was a CPA. What they're going to do is when they write up the job description, they're going to require a graduate level degree for this job, and I don't care if you're doing the job, they're going to screw you." And I was like, "Oh, that sucks." So he says, "You got to go back and you got to go get a degree. You got to get a master's, and we'll pay for." I
wow.
forget what the policy was. I think they paid for like 75% of it, which
Mm-hmm.
was pretty good. And this was also back in the day when school wasn't so crazy expensive. I mean,
Right.
I want to say one course, there's a few $100.
Yeah. Yeah.
I,
Well,
it,
when I started school in the 1800s, it was like literally a nickel was
there
$2.75
you
for a
go.
full-time student.
So this was much later. This was like in the 90s. But here's what I remember about age wise. I remember at first thinking, man, it's going to take me 3 years, because I'm working. I'm not going back to
Mhm.
school full
Right.
time. So I'm going to be going to night class for 3 years to get this thing. Dude, I'll be almost 30 by the time I'm done getting this degree. That's just, right? That's just too long. I
Yeah.
just, I just could not
You were
see.
going to be that old man in the class who, when the professor said, "If no one has any questions, y'all are free to go," and you threw your
Oh,
hand in the air.
man. So but I can vividly remember thinking, I don't want to go back and get a master's. I'm going to be 30 freaking years old by the time I'm done with that. As I get ready to double up on that number.
Yeah.
But then he used the line. It's a joke I've heard before, and he's like, "You're going to be 30 anyway.
Right. Exactly.
You wanna turn 30 with a master's or not?" And I look back. So I'm glad I got it. I look back now. I'm only glad I got it to make fun of it. I do. I do that. I do that on a regular basis in front of, when I'm talking to different groups, and I'll tell them, I
Mm-hmm.
said, "I'm one of these idiots. I went back and got a master's, and I wish I could go back and get about half that money back." Because I sat through classes of people talking about stuff they never did,
Yeah.
right? All theory, all
Welcome to
whatever.
college.
And I think I may have said this before, but if you let me design a true, useful master's of business, degree, half those classes would be acting classes. Thespian skills, Bubba. Thespian skills. The ability to act in a manner that might not be directly correlated to the way you feel right now.
Yeah.
And understanding so much of management is just, man, you got to play the part.
Right. Play the part, learn how to read the room.
I think rule number one, I'd have it on there. Rule number one, don't be a chew. Welcome to Professor Martin's class. Rule number one in leadership, try not to be a chew. And if you have to be a chew, make sure there's a reason.
That's right.
And clearly tell the people you're dealing with.
You right. You let them know why.
Okay, I'm about to be a chew.
And here's why.
Here's why.
Here's
why. I'm gonna be a chew because y'all being some bjorks. Y'all stop being some bjorks. I'm gonna let up on the chew, okay? But
well, did you ever in that job, did they ever switch the role that you had to have the MBA?
I don't know what they did after I left.
Not while you were there.
I ended up joining the banking world, Juan. I ended up seeing the writing on the wall, as it were, as far as just what a slog it was going to be. Just didn't, just didn't always find. But look, and here's this is, folks, what you're about to hear is called a segue, all right? Because we were talking about this before coming on. So what I had observed back in the day, being a employee of the state, is that, oh my God, there's a lot of non-work going on in this place. So what I was going to say when we opened up the podcast, I was about to say we have a new policy for the Dave and Juan More Time podcast. It is still free. You guys are still welcome to listen to this free of charge, but we'd appreciate it if you sent us an email once a week to let us know what did you accomplish last week.
Right. 2 or 3 sentences. That's it. Nothing much.
Much like our president and his number one bud, Elon, is now sending to all federal employees. Just a simple email saying, hey, once a week, just shoot us a short email to let us know what you did last week. What did you accomplish? All right. I was joking with my wife on the way to church this morning. I said, here's the deal. You can lie on that first one pretty easy. It becomes harder and harder each week.
Right. You got to make it up. And here's I screenshotted this thing from, I don't know where it was, but in one of the papers today that I guess somebody's on that federal employee union or whatever.
Which should be illegal. There should there should not be any federal employee union. Sorry.
They posted on X, formerly known as Twitter. It is cruel and disrespectful for the federal employees to be forced to justify their job duties to this out-of-touch, privileged, unelected billionaire who has never performed one single hour of public service in his life. Well, let me go ahead and back up some stuff here.
Ooh, that's a whole bunch of stupid right there.
First of all, how many employee jobs, federal employee jobs, do you think are actually public service? Remember back in the media days and the radio days when you had a public service announcement? It wasn't about what your federal employees doing. It was about some nonprofit organization. Yeah, these guys aren't working for a charity. They're not donating anything. They just got a job that happens to be employed by the federal government. And the thought that you now have to tell somebody what you're doing.
Listen, well, you know what? And there's a little bit of method. Well, not that it's madness, but I read something that I did not think of. And that's what you start peeling the layers on this. And it's something that Elon answered about why, one of the reasons they're sending this email out. He says, first of all, there are thousands, if not, there are at least thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, who are doing so little work on your payroll, y'all. Y'all, it's not a government payroll. It's you.
Right.
It's you.
Right.
America, it's you are paying. Like every dollar you earn, they take. You don't give it, they take some of it.
Right. It's one thing, and I even think that's crap if, a privately held company, people say, well, they would call this cruel if a privately held company did such a thing because people feel they're so entitled to anything. Called
a damn job. Who has a job that the boss doesn't say, hey, bro, what you did last week?
Right. And, I've been in jobs where people are complaining and I tell them and say, gosh, I know you think they pay you to be here.
Well, okay.
But
Here,
here's the deal on that situation. The they that pays them to be here is us.
yes, you just don't quite feel it, okay? And but you feel it in ways you don't understand, okay? You don't, and I say you. It's not like I'm calling people stupid. It's just like taxes. I've
Right.
said this before, right? If most people had to cut a check for taxes like I have to,
Mm-hmm.
you'd feel it, y'all. And what I'm saying is, you'd be like, "What? What am I?" When you're cutting regular tax checks that have a comma in it,
Yeah.
that's annoying. Okay, so, but again, glad to have it, but that's annoying. One of the reasons he says they have so many of them, they're doing so little work, they don't even check their email. So you literally have thousands of, and a lot of them are pretty decently paid
Right.
government workers who don't even check their email. That's how.
Yeah. We're not talking about the three people on the side of the one guy filling a pothole on the road.
And I got news for you. A lot of these people, they're accountable to their other bosses because a lot of them have other
Mm-hmm.
jobs. A lot of them basically have a government job that is not responsible to anything and is going. The other thing that Elon suggested, and you go like, oh yeah, that's true. There are a lot of fake IDs and social security numbers and stuff. There are literally government employees. He says next level fraud. There are
Yeah. Who don't
people
exist.
don't exist. Don't exist. There are checks being cut to people who don't exist. Now that money's going somewhere.
Right.
That's
It's
that's the thing.
the
That's every week we talk. I mean, it's been like 3-4 weeks now. We've been bringing this up, but it is freaking amazing how much just keeps coming out and coming out.
how the most amazing thing to me is how easily they have found this stuff.
Oh, it took them 10 minutes.
Right. It's hiding in plain sight.
It's not
And for the
hiding. They're
federal
not looking. By
employees
the
and all
way,
the people,
yeah.
look, Elon has done this. That's documented. I've read that before that Elon's done this with his own companies where he'll walk around and grab somebody and say, tell me what you did this week.
Listen, well, I actually pulled up here's the actual response he did to one of the things. He says the reason this matters is that a significant number of people who are supposed to be working for the government are doing so little work that they are not checking their email at all. That's one of the things of when they said, "Hey, if you don't respond, we take that as
Right.
a
Yeah. We
resignation."
consider it
Okay.
resignation.
In some cases, we believe non-existent people or the identities of dead people are being used to collect paychecks. In other words, there is outright fraud. So, cry me a river. That's the other thing too. That it's really weird to hear some people all of a sudden fighting for fraud. Like, who are you mad at?
Yeah.
Like when
Yeah.
somebody comes out and says, you know what? Well, I read something funny too. It's like, yeah, listen, we're finding out that there are millions of people getting Social Security checks who are dead, but they would never vote. Right? They
Yeah.
would never. What's harder to do, y'all? Continually send money to a dead person, or that person miraculously end up casting a vote?
Right.
Uh,
Well, yeah, right. In just, hell, an absentee vote, a mail-in ballot.
well,
This is, going back to where we started. We were asking this week, my wife was looking it up. My mother-in-law was drawing Social Security. And it's like, well, how do you stop it? For the most part, you are obligated, someone in her family is obligated to report
right.
that she is deceased. Now, I'm not sure that that's the only reason, so I don't want somebody to, say, that's not it. But in essence, yeah, it would take a while.
Looks like it.
Which means they would keep depositing checks in her money in her account.
And then somebody's got to have access to the account, and
Yeah, my wife has access to the account.
and then who's going to come get it? That's the other thing too. It's like so there has to be a way to cut the spigot off, and hopefully that's stuff that they get into. Here's the upside, y'all, and I know I said this last week. The upside might be, hey, Social Security might not be going broke.
Yeah.
They've been telling us forever that you're just not going to be able to
It could be flush with cash.
it's not going to be there for you. Well, if we stop it from being pillaged all the maybe
Well,
maybe it
this
might
is,
be.
I heard somebody and it was on, I just heard the clip. Maybe you shared it, maybe I shared it or whatever, but from one of the girls on Gutfeld's show. And she said the outrage of this uh, would be similar to if a woman caught her husband cheating because she saw texts from the woman he was having an affair with on his
On
phone,
his phone, yeah.
and his response was, "How dare you look at my phone?"
How can
And
we
the
have a
conversation
relationship?
stopped.
That's
Yeah,
right. How can we have a relationship built on trust if you are looking at my
yeah,
phone? Hey, how about the fact that you're having an affair?
yeah,
That's Cat Timp is her name. That's 100%.
yeah.
Hey, look, we've talked about this before. Well, look, all the other things that are coming out. Did you see this horrible human being, Burks, Dr. Burks? She was the one that wore the scarf back when it was the Fauci and Burke show when COVID first
Oh,
started.
yeah.
Okay, that hag. Okay, you saw what she's out talking about now? She's
Mm,
backtracking on everything. And it's amazing. It's like, what kind of bubble? You know, there's video of
mm.
you, right?
Yeah,
You know that you were on TV all the freaking time saying the exact opposite of what you're now claiming you never said.
right.
Or it was misinterpreted. It's bizarro world, but all this stuff coming out. And well, this past week, you know, the other I don't know if it's the last one, but one of the other major Avengers showed up, whether this guy's Iron Man or Captain America, but Kash Patel was sworn in as the head of the FBI.
Yeah.
Bruh, bruh, get ready. I like the crazy in his eyes. He's got some crazy in his eyes.
Well, and that's the whole deal. And again, we've talked about, Trump has no more F to give. And it's the thing, we chatted about with the governor of Maine. And
Oh,
just in that meeting, just calling her out.
oh, but that was a thing. But you know what I love about it? It's all of a sudden you've got a stream of it's a stream of consciousness with him. It's like he wasn't big on filters before, but now it's like, no, I'm gonna call you out. I love the fact is she here? Where's she at?
Yeah.
It's like, hey,
Are you going to follow the law?
you know, so you in court? Yeah, that'll be an easy one.
Yeah.
Enjoy,
Good luck with the end of your, I hope you enjoyed the end of your political career.
enjoy life, not because you're not gonna win your next election. I don't, she might be termed out, but
But
uh,
it's just all of that type of you know, just the level of arrogance and entitlement, that how dare you, when, and again, it's polarizing when it shouldn't be. You got clips of Obama and Clinton all saying, we got to cut waste, we got to get in there,
yep.
there's too much waste, there's too much fraud. The only difference is they didn't do it.
No, 100% because they never wanted to. And then we were talking about this a while ago. How quickly and easily they're finding massive,
Well, what was it? The Department of Treasury, trillions of dollars in checks with no
untraceable,
record
untraceable.
of where the money went.
No operation in the world which send payments with no traceable. We
Right.
don't know where this money went. It's just there's nothing in the fields that say what's it for, what's
No backup data. Here's the deal. You file your own taxes so you've got business related deductions. Go ahead and just add to your, when you file your taxes this year, just put, $10,000 on there as random. I'm not sure how I spent it, but
yeah.
it was a business expense.
Trust
I'm sure it was justified.
trust me. Why stop at
So
10?
please take that as a deduction.
I'll put $100,000 on there.
Yeah.
Why stop at 10? Just trust me. I'm good for why would I lie? Right. Again. So again, ties in. So there are a lot of terminations going on and it's interesting to watch how, I mean, in real time, how the news has changed and nobody listens. It's kind of funny to watch, like, so the New York Times can report something, or good heaven forbid, like CNN. Nobody pays attention to it. It's almost comical. It used to be like breaking news from Reuters. We find out Reuters is like, I
Oh,
mean, dude, trust it in the Lafourche Gazette. The Lafourche Gazette,
yeah.
the Lafourche Gazette has some ethics. Reuters is paid for all of it. It's so you see these stories coming out, and they're trying to make us feel sorry for these poor government workers who are suddenly, without a job. And like, where were all the videos when a few years ago the pipeline
Right.
the
Yeah.
pipeline being built that like thousands of guys lost
Yeah.
their job.
Go get some coding done. Go learn the code.
That was their thing, right? It was always go learn to code. You want to talk about how clueless some of these people are. And don't get me wrong, y'all, on an individual basis, man, look, I don't wish anything bad on, but we've all been fired. I've been fired, bro.
Right. Yeah.
I
Yeah. A
mean,
few times.
yeah,
But
exactly. And I want to say, I think I'm pretty tight. I'm pretty good friends with the people that fired me. I mean,
yeah, it's like,
like with time,
yeah,
you go like,
I can
yeah,
get that.
okay, I get it. I'd have fired me too, I guess.
But the point is, there's so many of them who were happy to do very little work.
Well, that's just it. And begin to
And that's not
expect it,
necessarily the fault of their own.
but
Yeah,
begin to
it's just the
expect it.
way things run.
Oh, or the other thing is, well, everybody else is.
Yeah.
Look, I used to get into an argument with my younger son, who always said he missed his calling to be a labor attorney because I never saw someone who was better at just, I mean, giving you an example of somebody that did something worse or that was always his thing. Well, at least
Yeah. You think that's something, Your Honor? Yeah.
I'm not the only one. I don't raise the other ones. I just got you. All the other ones don't sleep in my house.
Yeah.
So, bring them over. I will yell at them too. That's part of what I'm saying. As the father who's paying for everything, I have some rights to yell at you.
Exactly.
Right? If you're on my payroll,
You got
I
a stake in it.
I have the right for corrective action.
Right.
Hey, government.
And so you've got a financial and just a responsibility stake in that.
Government
Um,
employee, there you go. You are part of our company. We've elected a new president, our CEO of this company. His name is Donald Trump. He turned around and said, I got all this other stuff I got to try to do. Let me get a super genius in here. Hey, why don't you just audit what the heck's going on and bring in your team of autistic Avengers? That's what I almost grabbed that domain the other day. I didn't want to be saying like that's. I call them Elon's autistic Avengers. And like you said, it took them 10 minutes,
yeah.
and that was probably first 5 minutes finding it, the second 5 minutes backing it up to make sure they couldn't.
Right. And again, remember, guys, what, 5 weeks in as president?
It's moving fast. It's
I
moving
think 5 weeks tomorrow. So,
But the TV, but I'm saying is, so I'm seeing these stories, and they have one guy, and I don't know if it was here in Houston, it might have been a local one. This guy just started his job with the IRS. He's one of these new IRS employees, and man, it's literally, I think the guy's like choking up, telling his story about being let go, and I'm like, look, bro, first of all, okay, I don't want to see anybody, but
no, but I
don't.
think anybody who's been let go was in a probationary period to begin with. And they talk about, even the people in the FAA, because anything that goes wrong now is going to be because Trump cut back people in the FAA.
What did
when
Trump
it's
have to
like,
do? Yeah, what did Trump have to do with the 26-year-old beauty queen who bounced the plane so hard in Toronto she flipped it?
right, right. And the people who are being let go are minuscule in numbers from the proportion of numbers of employees they've got. But none of them are flying the planes. None of them are landing the planes. None of them are in the or air traffic controllers. And people are basically, like baggage handlers. And I don't know that that's their role, but
Right.
it's not anybody who's impacting the safety of your flight.
No, what's impacting the safety of your flight is what's happened over the past few years of we're going to have people flying these planes on based on stuff other than the fact, hey, can they fly the freaking plane? I blew right through that, but dude, that happened, I guess, between the last time we did a podcast in Canada. Those of you who saw it, was it Toronto or was it Ontario? I forget.
I don't know, somewhere else.
So a regional jet, which I'm on a regional jet tomorrow. I'm going to be on a plane similar to the one I've been watching footage of. I didn't even know they could do that to a plane. That's what freaks me out, because when I'm on a plane, dude, listen, I got my worries. I'm more worried about takeoffs. Takeoffs are where you tend to be at more danger because you don't have altitude yet, you don't have speed yet. If something's going to go wrong, that's
Got all the fuel.
okay. But on landing, in if it's not like a terrible weather kind of situation, man, on landing, by the time we're just coming down, I'm pretty relaxed. I'm doing other things. Not anymore. Not when, again, this 26-year-old, and I don't know why I got to say she was a beauty pageant contestant, because she was. Okay.
Well, let's say she didn't go to Top Gun.
She did not go to Top Gun. And when I say that, it's only because, dude, if she was 45, 50 years old, the fact that you were a beauty contestant means that was way in your past.
Right.
No. This is recently. This is like,
that's what you did when you're that old, what you did before you became a pilot.
That's right. So I am almost willing to bet that she had more training in pageantry than in. Now, she had to have the minimal amount of hours to fly. I forget what it is. Sounds like a lot, but it's not all that much. Anybody will tell you that. Real pilots will tell you. Yeah, I mean, yeah, 1,500 hours in the plane is better than none, but it's, yeah. That's why you want old people in the front of that plane. Yeah. But anyway, here's what else pissed me off. So I've been on a ton of planes with young people flying them or whatever. I'm not worried about your gender. I'm not worried about all this other stuff. I'm worried about, man, you look younger than my kids. So I worry when, I don't care a skill set, I'm experienced. But when I get on a flight and you got a young person, but then you also got, there's the grizzled veteran. There's the, right? That's the guy or that's the woman, whatever. That's somebody with experience.
To bring it back, that's the mentor.
That's the what?
The mentor.
That's the mentor. You got the mentor and the mentee. But here's what I'm freaking figuring. The mentor is taking off and the mentor is landing the damn thing. And you let the mentee, when you're up there at 30,000 feet, where if you turn the wrong switch or even kill an engine, you got time to adjust. But apparently this time they're coming into landing. The old dude on the plane he's on the radio he is not doing the landing. So what does our young pilot do? She slams that plane so hard it collapses. You gotta
is that how? See, I didn't read enough on it. How did it flip?
She let the plane come down too fast. Like, in other words, it's supposed to be coming down to a certain level of descent, whether it's 400 feet, I don't know what it is, but it was apparently more than double how fast it was supposed to be coming down. I've heard other pilots talk about the fact it looked like the plane wasn't like nose up. It wasn't flared.
Pitch, right.
Yeah. She didn't nose dive it into the ground, but she pretty much flew that son of a gun. Boom, hit it hard enough that the landing gear collapsed. It tilted, flipped. I think it took a wing off. I'm pretty sure that's what ended up happening. The snow is what saved them. All right, because it was, there wasn't snow on the runway.
Not on the runway, but when it rolls to the side,
but hey, guess what? There wasn't snow on the runway, but neither were they. Right? Oh, she hit the runway, literally hit the runway, and then the plane ends up, and the snow, I guess reduces friction and maybe help, and the explosion. I guess the wing broke away, and miraculously,
we're gonna have to do like a lot of truck drivers have, I guess dash cams that go both ways. They can show the road in the front of them and show them. Yeah. And it's for their protection, I guess. So you can show, hey, look, I hit this car. This is what I was doing. Might have to start putting those on airplanes.
So you feel for the people that luckily everybody survived, but some people were pretty seriously injured. Delta, apparently they're all awful. I fly United all the time. I'm not a fan of United anymore. Apparently Delta is just as idiotic. So they come out next day, 2 days later, offering $30,000 a piece to everybody who was on that flight. Okay, to say to shut up. Well, that's a sign right there. Yeah. Like when the company comes out and
they're not just handing out $30,000. It's $30,000 and you're signing a legal document.
And those freaking vultures, it was probably a $30,000 voucher for Delta flights. It's probably money. I get it. But yeah, right. Free upgrades. So that itself will tell you, yeah, you guys are not really worried about where anybody with a brain jumped in. There were probably lawyers out there before. Well, the lawyers started circling as soon as Delta would not release who the pilots were. Y'all, we're not stupid. We're not stupid. Same thing happened the other day with that
Yeah, in
helicopter that flew
Pennsylvania
in the path. If
or
if
wherever
they're
that was. Yeah.
if they're put it this way, Juan, if you and I were flying that plane, man, they'd have had our high school transcripts online by the time, right? By the time the smoke cleared, they'd have known everything about us. They'd have known everything about us. But so there you go. Which still goes back to the fact, hey, federal workers, send an email.
Yeah.
This is
Like
what
he
I did.
says, 2 or 3 sentences. That's all it needs. It just need to know you're there.
You know what they're gonna do? They're gonna go on go on Grok or Chat GPT and what would five things? What are five plausible
Yeah.
things I can pretend
Go.
I did
Where's
last
that
week?
job description that I have? I know I have it somewhere.
Well, that's the thing. Well, they're going to find, but here's why people don't want to find out because listen, everybody's looking bad. Again, hey, Mike Johnson, Mitch McConnell, who's
Yeah.
retiring, they tell us.
Yeah. Thank God.
I wonder if they told him yet because I don't think
When I saw, well, I just heard like I guess I was coming in and caught half of the headline about him. I said, "Oh, please God, tell me he stepped down now."
no, he's going to hang around to make people miserable for a couple of years. But no, he's going to be like Dianne Feinstein. They, they will wheel this dude out for votes. And it's criminal what happens in our system right now. So we'll see. But they are all trying as best they can. It's almost like their goal is okay. How about this? How about this? How about this? How about going forward? We try to do better.
Yeah.
And let's not look back at who's been letting this happen. Hey, come on. Do we really want to know who's pocketed millions and millions of dollars over the past 10? We really, come on. Can't we all just get along?
Yeah.
They're criminals on both freaking sides. And that's why this thing's been, it's glorious to watch. And you and I have talked about this before. Man, look, I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, or Bernie freaking Sanders. If they got you on your corruption and kickbacks and all this stuff, hey man, go fired as at a minimum. You got to claw that money back, and so people got to go to jail, man. I mean, they'd put you in jail for that.
Oh, in a minute.
You'd be in jail for a tenth of what we see is happening, right? Dude, you get called into court and you lie. You like just smile on your face, knowingly perjure yourself to a judge or to a jury. You think you just get to go whoopsie?
Yeah. Well, it's like, oh, well, Mr. Martin, I see we paid you $180,000 a year for the past 10 years. You really didn't have any money when you came into this job, but now you've got $25 million. Oh, you're on, I got a book deal.
That's right.
How much was the book deal? I don't remember. Okay, well, we'll trust you. Go ahead.
Well, that's the kind of stuff that's going on. So every week's a fun week, y'all. We got and maybe some of these people can use this. I joked about this was last week. So our church, the church we go to now in Richmond, it's near the courthouse, near the I guess the Fort Bend County. Like if you get called to jury duty, you're down there. Well, what do you have around a lot of the courthouses? Bail bondsmen, right?
Yeah.
It's always hysterical to me that they're all, and it's an old part of town. So like old restaurants or old little pop-up buildings or you don't need a lot of space to be a bail bondsman, right? And there's a sign.
No, because I know this dude who has, he's like 25 and dude's got bank. And I think he's licensed in 4 or 5 different parishes and just, all you need is a phone.
Right. So, but they've got one, and the sign. I'll show you the sign later. The name of the bonds, the bail bonds is Outlaw Bail Bonds.
Nice.
The cartoon is like, man, if it's not stereotypical racist, I don't even know how to. It's weird. It looks like a Mexican smiley face with of Asian eyes and a sombrero or something on, man, or a cowboy hat. It's sort of like, and then their catchphrase is, "Don't leave your loved ones in jail." I just like the openness and the honesty. Like, man, look, you know that Couillon did it. You know he's guilty. Don't leave him in jail, though.
Right, just let him come home before he's got to go back.
Yeah. You want to see the guy a little bit? He owes you money. Yeah, you better, you better collect now because he's going away. But yeah, Outlaw Outlaw Bill is not a sponsor of the Dave and Juan podcast, but I thought I'd give him a shout out.
But if we need,
you never know. You never know. Also, we're trying to get through the apparent chicken crisis. The egg.
So let me ask you this, Dave. If there's an egg crisis, why is there not a chicken crisis?
No, but there is a chicken crisis.
Oh, is there? Okay.
Yeah, because and again, here's the deal, y'all. Let's go back to the founding principle of the Dave and One More Time podcast. Everybody's lying. They're all lying. They have been destroying hundreds of thousands, millions of chickens, various things. Do you remember about a year or two ago, all these poultry farms that caught fire?
Yeah,
That's a little suspect. And then now, and I saw a clip a while ago about this guy talking about the nonsense about anytime these chickens are dying, they're claiming it's avian flu or whatever.
Bird flu. Yeah.
But you notice how it's apparently only our food supply that is being hit by that. You don't see birds. There aren't birds falling out the sky. You don't see.
And it's not the farm chicken flu.
No, it's supposedly our food supply. It's our chickens. I mean, this guy's saying you don't see these birds aren't dying on regular. It's these massive chicken farms. And he goes, the chickens are not dying of a virus. They're dying of neglect. So they don't give them the vitamins they need. They don't get if you ever been to some of these poultry places, it's horrific. It's horrific. But he said, that's what's happening. So you got a lot of chickens that die because they're just neglected.
Right.
But
most of those chickens never get out of a cage.
But so, they got the bird flu. So we just got to kill. Let's kill 200,000 chickens and probably get paid by the government. Like that's
right. Yeah.
So if I can get the government to come say I got to kill all these chickens and they pay me for it,
it's less feed I got to feed them.
Because guess what? There's none of this going on in Mexico. The price of eggs and chickens, like other countries are not having this. It's us, and it's again just something else. It's kind of fun though. It's like a movie that you almost think like, man, are the good guys? The good guys aren't winning yet. But it's at that part of the movie where the music changes, where you start going, and then just, look out, man!
Yeah, here they come.
Look out! Talking about the music change, I got a clip the other day. I hadn't seen it before. It's one of the reasons that some people are really, really afraid of Kash Patel being the head of the FBI now, because he knows where all the bodies are buried. He was there before. He knows. He wrote books called Government Gangsters. He knows how bad everything is. But apparently when he was brought on stage, announced at, I guess, the Republican convention, you know what he came out to? Sandman. All right. Metallica. Nice. Sandman. But queued up, sleep with one eye open, holding your pillow tight, exit like man, that's a nice sign, right? Coming up there, and he's kind of a jacked up guy with crazy eyes. That's who you want running the FBI, man.
It's just the level of hypocrisy and the ignorance on the side of people who sit down and deny or still won't acknowledge that, hey, this is what the dude was elected to do. And nobody should be shocked.
Another election coming, y'all. There's another election coming in 2 years, right? That's the thing. That's the funny thing, too. It's like, did you all vote for that? Yeah. Oh, yeah. People are posting like, oh, my, and more. It's better. It's
a little disappointed it's not going even faster.
It's the first time in history. And I'm telling you, there are as many Republicans in D.C. upset as Dems because half of them are crooked, too, man.
Right.
They are crooked too. They've been playing the same game, and it's always been just, hey, one hand washes the other. We're not going to come after you. You're not. And yeah, like I said, you took a shot and you missed. That's something else I saw today.
Well,
you want to go down another
look at the stuff, Ukraine again, where it's everybody talk about how Trump's going to blow any kind of deal. And what was it, Friday, that he said, I'm done with Zelensky. I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
Zelensky's acting like he ain't doing nothing. Then come Saturday, it's like, oh well, maybe we'll go ahead and make that deal.
And now today, right before we come on, and saying he's willing to step down if Ukraine can join NATO, which is absolutely not going to happen.
Right.
It's not going to happen. It can't happen. It will not. But that's the thing. So how crooked? Look, how involved and crooked are all of them? You got Lindsey Graham. You got Cornyn. You got what are y'all doing over there? But again, it's all we are going to find out before it's all said and done how much of the money supposedly was shipped over. Even he's saying, yeah, y'all said y'all sent us 200 billion, 200 something billion. We only know where 75 of it is.
Yeah.
Right. And they scam most of that. I mean,
right.
you know,
Yeah, we only know where it is, or is that code for we're only willing to admit?
Zelensky personally owns a mansion in Miami. I mean, the dude.
Well, yeah, I think he bought a couple of. I think his visible demonstration of wealth skyrocketed
Billions
after the war started.
It's a great money making gig if you can get it. Apparently, I was reading something today. Sean Penn. Remember when Sean Penn, one of our greatest actors and diplomats, went to Ukraine and gave Zelensky one of his Oscars, or his Oscar. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
See the picture of it, right?
Yeah, because he was trying to do some documentary and everything.
You know, Sean Penn was paid $5 million by USAID to do that.
Nice.
So not only is it like, man, it's kind of a true move to do, like to go do that, but when you're making money on it too. All right. You can't dislike these people enough, y'all. I mean, it's like I said, Juan and I may be wrong, but we ain't lying. You may come to us down the line.
We're not benefiting from any of it.
Exactly. You may say, you know what, guys, y'all weren't quite. I don't think you quite had your ducks lined up on that one. Yeah, but we weren't lying. We're telling you what we thought there. But let's see what else is happening this week. We got as we wind down here. Ozzy Osbourne's got a new song, dude.
Dude, I saw the fact that dude. How is he even able?
Now look, I have to wonder how much auto tune is used on it, but you see the video, you see it's him singing, and it's obviously his voice. He's good at it, but it's a good song. It is. I'll say just like when Billy Joel, what's that? I'm here right now. Whatever the last song Billy Joel released a single last year, which was a great song. It was like, wow, that could have been on a Billy Joel album back in the day. Wouldn't have missed a bit. Same thing with Ozzy here. This song has not quite a "Mama, I'm Coming Home" vibe to it, but really good.
It's got a hook.
Got a good hook. It's I think it's called "The Gods of Rock and Roll." So endorsed, y'all. So our man
Check out some Ozzy.
Our man Ozzy's out there doing it. What was the other thing here? Oh, I think they're missing the point. So and get ready for this. As the government cuts back and starts firing a lot of dead weight, they're doing a little bit like, remember when Obama was in and they shut the government down for just a little bit? And it never really shuts down whenever we quote unquote shut the government down, because most of the government still has to work. And oh, by the way, they pay those people back pay whenever they come back.
Right.
But you remember when they went out and roped off like the World War II museum outdoor? Yeah. They went rope off outdoor stuff to try to make it painful, right?
All of our national parks.
All national parks. And they were showing this one of the guys that got fired at Yosemite was the only guy who had the key to save people from like get trapped in bathrooms. And the funny thing is they're reporting that like, oh my God, how horrible that they fired. And people are just flaming it saying, so wait a minute, what are you admitting? Like one guy? You got one guy that's got a key? Nobody else there knows how to do you know how to make keys? And how bad are your bathrooms that people are getting stuck?
Right. How about you just leave it unlocked?
Or in where was it?
Or lock it up, let people pee in the yard.
Oh, one of the national monuments that they're all whining. And the people went to the top of some peak and hung a flag upside down because like a distress. Apparently, one of the signs of distress is hanging a flag upside down. Here we go.
Yeah, I know people who have their Facebook profile.
Yosemite National Park workers hung an upside-down American flag, traditionally a symbol of distress or a national threat, thousands of feet off the ground on the side of El Capitan. And then this guy, Kurt Schlichter, who I follow him. His response was, they don't have time to operate the front gates or unlock the bathrooms, but they've got plenty of time to
Yeah.
climb to the top of the hill and secure an upside down flag there, thereby making a political statement on government time. I don't think you're making the case you think you're making, right?
There's just it's so we had, you know, my neighborhood, the HOA meeting a couple of weeks ago. That we might have to raise the dues. The dues have been the same for 10 years.
We need the dues. What movie was that? What,
But,
what movie was that? We need the dues. Animal House.
No idea.
When they didn't want to take in Flounder, they went, ah! I think I said, we need the dues.
That's right. Yeah. But talking about raising it less than $20 a month. So
hey, that's $240 a year, bro. What are you, rich? You must fix your own car.
Not anymore.
Yeah, I got you.
But so and they're literally showing, here's what we spend the money on. Here's what the projects that we need to do. Here's can't do it without this. Blah 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 blah. So somebody in the meeting who is an engineer at Exxon,
there you go,
raised their hand and said, "This is what I want you. Please, when you're deciding on an amount, consider that we've got new national leaders, new state leaders, which he's been here for a year, and new local leadership. And we're all worried about the stability of our jobs." And she said, I'm an engineer at Exxon and my salary's locked for a year.
Oh my God.
It's like, well, most people's salaries are locked for
a
year at a time. And as an engineer at Exxon, I'm thinking, but again, it's let's attribute everything or worry about everything. Yeah, let's hang the upside down flag at the park.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so the way to make us come around to the fact, like, to believe you're not useless, is to do stupid things, stupid, useless things. So not only are you useless, but you're petty. I got it. But it's what happens. It's what happens. Juan, I told you, and again, it's about time for us to get on out here, and I go back to when I was working, for the state for that brief amount of time. There were people there who I thought were good people. And I can't tell you how many folks there had other jobs. They all had side gigs. One of the dudes there ran his own air conditioning company, like fixing air conditioners. Dude had a full-time job, state job.
And I'm guessing you're saying he did like the 18 hours a day or 16 hours a day that he wasn't working his state gig. He was running his AC business.
Man, listen. And here's the deal, though. But to his credit, the best I can remember, when he was around, he was competent. All right. So that's almost a trade-off. It's like, this guy's probably putting in a third of the hours he should be putting in on what he's being paid for. But when you factor in the fact that he's actually good at what he does compared to maybe.
And he was there.
Yeah, when he was there.
Most of the federal employees, or at least a massively large quantity of them, aren't even there.
What did I say? I am not saying I was the most talented guy to walk into that place. I'm not saying it. I was, but I'm not going to say it. But like I said, when I got there, I had 3 years. My plan was 3 years. They gave me 2 major projects that the agency had never come close to passing. I had 3 years to do it. We did it in like 7 months.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't like I was sleeping at night. I was still drinking beer. I wasn't an Elon sleeping on a cot in my office.
But the point is, I bet you also had the rational thought of, I have a lot to do over here. There's a good chance somebody's going to notice that and cut me loose.
Well, it actually ended up being an issue because what happened was I was promised when I got there a 10% pay raise if we passed either one of these things. So we did both. And so I was due a pay raise. I got it, but it was a fight and they were mad. Not my boss. My boss, DB, was awesome. He fought for it. They didn't want to give it. But I remember that. That's the other thing, too, about, that right after, don't be a true boss. The next thing would be do what you say. Do what you say you're going to do. Keep your word.
Well, and I've said this on jobs before where, you'll tell your supervisor, and hey, just want you to know, I have capacity. Is how I would put it. And that's a scary thing to say because it's like, hey, I just that's a polite way of saying, bro, I ain't got nothing to do over here.
I could help. Give me something else to help with. I'll be glad to. But yeah, it's a dangerous thing. You're right. It's a dangerous thing. Just like with budgeting. Oh my goodness. State budgeting. If you don't spend it, they're going to take it away.
Yeah, it's logical.
So it's not like running a business where it's like, you know what, we better say, don't spend money we don't need to spend, and then let's accumulate, and then maybe we can spend money more wisely, or we can hold this in an emergency fund. So no. If there's any money left, they take it. You screwed up. You done. Yeah. You done screwed up, Aaron. You gotta, but all right, y'all. This hour flew by, man.
Yeah. Time flies when you're having fun.
We went a little long last time. We were like an hour 15 last time.
Yeah, dude.
That was a bonus for you guys. That was a bonus. Let's see how long it takes us to get out here. We may reach that again. Hey, we're gonna push the button.
It could be another half hour.
We're gonna push the button. Get on out of here. It could be like
Cajun people saying goodbye in the driveway.
That's right. All right, I gotta go. It's like me getting off the phone with my mom. All right, well, okay, mom. Yeah. What about? Yep. Yeah. Me and my mom say bye for 10 minutes. All good. All good. Okay. I said we pushed the button. Got on out here. Hey, if you want to reach us, in fact, you need to reach us.
That's right. Let us know what you're doing.
Know what did you accomplish last week? It's Dave and Juan at protonmail.com.
Or comment wherever you are.
Yes. Or you can exactly leave it on the YouTubes, right. Leave it on the iHearts.
And for bonus points, let us know what you accomplished because of us.
Oh, I would just take it. I just took that for granted because every week we look you right in the eyes or scream right into your ears. It's not a hint, suggestion. No. We're not subtly implying anything. It's a freaking mandate, bro. Mandate of this program that you go out there and live your best life. Give it a shot. Give it a shot. You having a great day? Do that again.
Yeah. Have a better one tomorrow.
Your day didn't turn out too well? Scrap it.
Yeah, it's the bar set low. Tomorrow will be easy.
You start working on your email of what you accomplished, and you realize I didn't accomplish jack squat this week. Yeah. You know what? Go accomplish jack squat. I don't know what jack squat looks like, but hey.
Yeah, well, maybe your accomplishment will be sending that email.
Correct. There you go. I read a funny meme said, what did you do? What did you accomplish last week? Well, I complained about Trump. I complained about Elon. I wrote this email. All right, y'all. We are going to get out of here. Hey, this is sort of in the midst of Mardi Gras. We hope everybody's having a decent one. We know the parades were canceled in Thibodaux today as we record. Don't know when they're going to reschedule that when the rain blows out of here. But have fun. Throw me something, mister. Y'all don't flash nobody. Don't be stupid.
Unless it's me.
Unless it's Juan. Don't step on any kid's hands reaching for beads. For God's sakes, don't go fall under a float and
hurt you.
Ruin the party for everybody. All right, y'all know the Mardi Gras etiquette. Y'all get out there, have a good time with it, and we'll be back next week to talk all about it again. Until then, y'all be good. Love you, bro.
Back at you, dude. So one of the things of going through my mother-in-law's house, you end up, it's kind of, does anybody want this? My wife just has one brother and he's got, two kids. So it's not a massive family, but it's like, okay, who wants this? Do we sell this? Do we throw it away? When Joey and I had come home one night and my brother-in-law was staying there and he and his daughter were still going through stuff, and they called us all excited because they found these two Princess Diana Beanie Babies.
Oh my gosh.
And on eBay, they were listed for like $20,000. So, that's unpacked or in the package on the, and my wife's getting, oh my God, you think? I said, no, not a chance. I said, how many times you heard about the Disney VHS tapes? I said, anybody could list. I said, I can sell you, I could list you for $1 million on eBay. Doesn't mean I'm getting it. So the next day, my brother-in-law is apparently a fan of Pawn Stars and has mentioned Rick several times as though, by first name this
They're
week. And so,
buds. They're
yeah,
buds.
and he knew whoever Rick would go to for things like Beanie Babies. So on the next day, he called that place in Vegas to ask him what Beanie Babies were worth.
What he found out?
Nada.
It's somewhere between 20,000 and zero.
and zero.
And
A
best I
lot
can
closer
do.
to zero.
Best I can do is zero.
It's over. Go home.